Alright, here we go. So today I'm gonna be talking a bit about... Hang on. Awesome. Okay, so today I'm gonna be talking a bit about Borderlands and why I prefer Borderlands kind of a bit over Destiny and Warframe. And other looter shooters, of course. Though there's not very many looter shooters that I know of off the top of my head. Because the first thing I think of when I hear looter shooter is one of two options. Destiny or Borderlands. And when you really think about the two, it's really dependent on what you prefer. And to me, I prefer Borderlands because, for one, I can play this by myself, couch co-op. I can have as many characters as I want, and of course you can build your characters however you want. Whereas in Destiny, you know, there's not really much of builds, there's just augmentations to your abilities. And whilst you could say that's kind of building up your character, in my defense, I would like to build up skills to create playstyles that are unique to what I think. Now sure, customizing and augmenting your abilities does change up your playstyle a little bit, but skills are just far more efficient in my opinion. Now, do remember that this is just my opinion. I'm not trying to state this as fact, but what is a fact is you can actually play Borderlands by yourself if you want to, which in my opinion is a very amazing ability. And the same problem reaches for the you know, the Warframe games, because it is an online service, and even though Warframe in my opinion is a lot better than a lot of games that are free, and part of the due to the reason that it is connected to Dark Sector, you know, gives me that interest in the game. But really that's all I really like about the game is the story. You have these insanely long days, sometimes even days and hours of waiting for your items to be built, and I just don't have the patience or time to grind in a game like that when I could be playing much more efficient games that I have far more fun in and can enjoy a hell of a lot more. Thus, Borderlands is one of those games that are a bit more simple. And, you know, with games like Destiny, you have these super advanced movements and stuff like that, and that's cool, but I really do prefer the basic movements of Borderlands. It focuses more the gameplay on shooting the enemy than actually, you know, jumping around or trying to dodge bullets or stuff like that. Well, anyway, I would also make the argument that Borderlands, is, in my opinion, has just a far more... I don't know. It's been out for a long time, and if I'm totally not mistaken, then... And I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that Borderlands was the original looter shooter back in 2009. So yeah. So yeah, and by the way, you know, with Destiny, in my opinion, the raids and stuff are how you really grind. But, you know, to find a team of people to do raids, you really have to be super dedicated. With Borderlands, you really don't have to be dedicated to be good. Sure, you could, you know, be dedicated like I am and enjoy playing the game, and I can play this game 100 times over with all 4 characters. And while I will say one thing is that, you know, when the Borderlands games move forward, they usually improve upon the ones before them. But just improvements does not mean it's better. And I just like to emphasize that real quick. So, right, you have Borderlands 1 to Borderlands 2. Now, Borderlands 2 made the game far better in multiple different ways. And, you know, one of the couple ways that I know is that they made the skill trees bigger. So you can, you know, invest in more, you know, skills in building your character progress. The other thing is that they had a little bit better quality DLCs. Now, I'm not gonna say that the DLCs are far better than Borderlands 1, especially when thinking about Borderlands like the Sir Hammerlock Big Game Hunt. It kind of reminds me of Dr. Ned's Zombie Island, which, to be honest, was a far better theme that never returns. And I kind of like that. Also, Borderlands 2 ended up, what's it called? They ended up getting rid of E-Tech or Iridian weapons in exchange for E-Tech weapons, which I personally dislike E-Tech weapons. Mainly because they consume a lot of ammo, whereas, you know, whatever. But the other big thing that they've ended up upgrading, in my opinion, is a big upgrade, was the badass ranks. Whilst they're not as simplistic as the weapon proficiencies, and whilst I would have enjoyed weapon proficiencies and badass ranks, at the end of the day, I think the badass ranks are pretty cool because they don't apply to all characters, they just apply to a singular character. So when you start a new character, you really start off fresh, and I kind of enjoy that. But if you want to start a character fresh in Borderlands 2, it's either you need a new account, like a guest account or something, or you disable your badass ranks. But what's the fun in that? Because you really do need to invest in badass ranks to make the game more fluent. Especially when considering upgrading recoil, decreasing recoil and increasing reload speeds and stuff like that. Especially when it comes down to health and shield capacities, recharge rates, and so forth. Because badass ranks cover more areas, and because you can upgrade them a hell of a lot more than just 50%, you can make it be 150% to even to where I'm at 300 gun damage, 200 max health, and I hope to further increase that to actually be at least about 600% more health. Is kind of my goal, because I really want large health pools because it makes the game a lot easier. But in order to do that, you have to grind the challenges, which add more use to challenges. Where in Borderlands 1, if we go to the challenge bar, it's basically just XP rewards. Whilst a lot of XP, other than that, there's no point. Now, if they had a badass rank system in this, it would probably be better than the weapon proficiencies. But then again, I kind of wouldn't want that, because then it kind of makes this game different. And I kind of like the game the way it is. And that's kind of how I like all Borderlands games. The way that they are. How they're made is basically perfect. The other thing I was going to talk about was from Borderlands 2 to pre-sequel, you had anti-gravity, which, to be honest, is a give or take, because it adds different movement. They get rid of the relics in turn for the rebreathers, and I thought that was a little bit cool, because they add different effects to your new movements, which helps take advantage of the new movement mechanic of the zero gravity, the butt slams, and all that. And I kind of enjoyed the fact that they took advantage of that instead of just let it turn into nothing. Because if they let it turn into nothing, then people would complain. But then again, people would also complain that there's no relics. So it's really a give or take. And also, you know, the other thing I liked about Borderlands 2 is the bosses, or a lot of the bosses, are refarmable. Some of the bosses in Borderlands 1, you couldn't refarm them. And some of the bosses don't drop legendaries. Or in Borderlands 2, bosses can drop... some bosses can actually drop legendaries. And the other thing is that, you know, in Borderlands 1, legendaries can drop from any lootable source, so it's not like it's boss specific. Now you have your big farmable boss, which is Cromarex, but he's only found in the DLC.
Excuse the mess, but a good kidnapping is never clean. Shank busted in and took Miss Athena for a little while. You should have seen the fight she put up. That kitty has claws. Mr. Shank is after the chunk of change that Atlas has put on Athena's pretty little face. If you want her, you'll need to do some fancy driving. Luckily, I'm just the person to help with that.
And the other thing that I really enjoyed about Borderlands 1 over Borderlands 2 is the amount of times that you can actually find actual legendaries inside of vending machines. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, and it is very rare, and it has happened to me before, and I do have a screenshot of it that I will post one day. Not sure when. But basically, what ends up happening is there is a very rare chance that you can actually get legendaries out of vending machines. It's very rare, and it typically doesn't happen. And from when comparing Borderlands 2 to pre-sequel, legendaries can spawn inside of actual, what's it called? Inside of vending machines more often. Another thing I liked about Borderlands 2 over Borderlands 1, however, is the Iridium currency. Because of Iridium, you can actually buy SDUs, and the storage deck upgrades, are very useful, because what ends up happening is that you don't need to spend a lot of money on them, and they've upgraded the amount of ammo you can have by a tremendous amount over Borderlands 1. Which makes a lot more sense because there's a lot faster fire rates, and you're gonna need as much ammo as you can possibly get, especially when facing bosses. Now, does that mean that Borderlands 2 is better than Borderlands 1? In some aspects, yeah, but Borderlands 1, as you guys can see, I'm still playing it to this day in 2020, and I am not bored of it. I don't want to get bored of the game. I don't feel bored of the game because I enjoy the game. I was just bragging to my friend about how I will never stop playing Modern Warfare for a while. Then Season 3 drops, and then all of a sudden I don't want to play it anymore. I'll be honest with you guys. I really don't want to play Modern Warfare. I'm not really feeling Season 3, man. I bought the seasons thing or whatever for $10, and I'm just sitting in the back, and I'm like, I could really grind for this right now, especially when having nothing else to possibly do. But it feels like none of my friends want to play it, and thus makes me not want to play it. And I think I may delete the game, but I really don't want to because I have so much in the game. And I've done my little grind, and I've wasted exactly $20 on the game now. I bought Season 2 and Season 3. And though I did want to grind for a Mara skin, I really think I don't need it, and I really don't want it. And by the way, a lot of the content in there, I really don't need or want. I do, however, want to get far in the battle pass, at least to get the Mara skin, and help get my money's worth before I end up closing the book on that game. And I'm not going to close the book on it, like I won't ever play it again. I'll probably play it, but I will not buy a season's pass ever, or season, the seasons. I absolutely refuse. I'm an older gamer, okay? I'm 17. Well, I'm not saying I'm physically old, but what I'm saying is I'm 17, and I was born in 2002. Which means when I was growing up, a lot of the old school games like Condemned 2, Borderlands, BioShock, a lot of these games were coming out when I was in like the first, second, and third grade. And some of these games came out, you know, when I was in the 5th grade, like, what's it called? I remember when I was in the 5th, or it could have been the 4th grade, but I'm pretty sure it was the 5th grade, everyone was excited about Black Ops 2. I remember playing Black Ops 1 in 2010 when I was like in the, I was in like the 3rd grade when I started playing that game. But yeah, no man, as a kid I just grew up on Call of Duty and Borderlands, BioShock, Half-Life, Portal. A lot of these early on games started being developed at around that time when I was really, really young, so I kind of grew up on those games. And I grew up on MX versus ATV. I really enjoyed those games. So I had my fair share of games to play. And especially Mortal Kombat, when MK9 came out, a lot of people liked that game, including myself. But at the end of the day, when comparing to these newer games, yeah, they're graphically impressive, but they just don't have the spice that these games have. See, this game has aged really well, and this is a perfect example as how I can still play this game. And now, I'm not everybody in the entire world, and I can see why people can get bored of the game. And yeah, to some people, to some new people, they're going to end up seeing the game and they're going to be like, that's work, you know. But really, if you dedicate enough time into the game and beat the campaign, beat the side quests, and if you buy DLC, you'll get far. Now, obviously, the only Borderlands DLC you'll actually need to buy is Borderlands 3. Which I will talk about in a second. Borderlands 3 is awesome, but it also... Oh, man. Alright, but as I was saying, Borderlands 3 was awesome, and it still is awesome, and I love playing Borderlands 3, but, you know, it really is that modern Borderlands, and I love what the series has turned into. It's just the problem, in my opinion, comes from the fact that, you know, Borderlands 3 is more like, it's a Borderlands game, and I think part of the reason I dislike it was because of the story. And I think that one day I will buy the Season's Pass to get all the DLC, and so when I get all that DLC, I'm going to enjoy playing the game. I'm really going to enjoy playing that game. I'm just going to do what I normally do, though. I'm not going to buy it when it first comes out. I'm kind of going to wait for it all to sort of just come out to see what I'm getting. Because they had this stupid, the second DLC in my opinion is pretty retarded, and I don't think I'm going to be very interested in it. But the first DLC I really enjoyed the idea of it, the casino. I just, you know, I feel like, okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys, the second DLC I felt like it could have been turned into like a headhunter pack. Kind of like how in Borderlands 2 there was a wedding, and of course it ends in destruction. But you also had the fact of the matter that, hey, you know what, this could have easily been a headhunter pack. It didn't have to be its own thing, its own whole DLC. Now maybe it was worth it, and maybe I need to play it before I fully critique it. But from what I've seen from it, it really could have been a headhunter pack. A very large headhunter pack. And to be honest, I hope we end up getting headhunter packs, because I really enjoy the Borderlands 2 customization, and I'd be very or Borderlands 3 customization, and I'd be very interested to see as to the different headhunter packs we end up seeing, because Borderlands 2 headhunter packs were actually pretty good, if I'm being truly honest with you. So, you know, But yeah, those are some of my thoughts on Borderlands. One of the other things is the community of Borderlands. I really enjoy the community of Borderlands because you get cool people like Vinylic Puma, you get people like Yodi Slayer, like Killer 6, Jolts, Handsome Jack Boy, Hater Hype, you know, tons of people. Just those are just to name a few. But I love watching Borderlands videos, man. I enjoy the Borderlands games. And I think that if people are really into it, man, and I guess this is kind of just what determines it, if you're truly interested in the franchise, then you typically stick with it. Well, if you're not truly interested in this game, then you're probably not going to stick to it. If you're more or less like a person who just plays multiplayer games like Destiny, you're probably not going to get into this. It doesn't have, I mean, it has multiplayer up to 4 people. It doesn't have that Destiny style PvP. And everybody has their own type of thing. But man, I think the main reason I didn't like Destiny as much is because of Borderlands. I think because I played so much Borderlands, I just got, that was my looter shooter. And I think because Destiny was just so weird, because they had game modes like Gambit, it kind of felt like a PvP and a looter shooter, and I didn't really like that. They have PvP in this game, right? They have the arenas, but you know, but really it can get kind of old real fast, because you can tell that this game was not designed for, you know, player versus player. And then of course in the Borderlands 2 pre-sequel and Borderlands 3 you have duels, so that's it, your form of PvP. And it's there. It doesn't serve a significant purpose. It's not high quality. It's not its own mode. It's just kind of there. Now, I can't really talk all that much for Borderlands 3 because I'm pretty sure they could add modes like that. And I haven't experienced the full game yet. I've experienced the campaign and a lot of the side quests. Now, there are the I'm pretty sure they have the circles of slaughter and stuff like that. Oh shit, they knocked me off the edge. But yeah, so, you know, I'm sitting here doing my Mordecai run through, and I'm gonna get all my characters to 69. I've fully dedicated myself to doing that because, for one, this character is pretty awesome, man. I'm trying to get this skill, Relentless, and I'm trying to make it all the way down to get this maxed out, to then get this Fast Hands, which makes my reload speed upwards like 40%, I think. And then I try to get Ransack, which has an additional chance to drop loot. But you can turn that into 100% chance to drop additional loot. So that will take 15 skill points. And then I can try to get something like Killer. You know, when I get to max level, I don't need Smirk. I could just put it on Killer, and then just have my my skill points here. That 1, 2, over 3, and then 4. And then as I go along, I'm trying to get this. But then afterward, I'm going to end up getting Deadly, and I think that'll be the end of it. I'll get these. And then I don't think I'll get Birds of Prey. If I get Birds of Prey, I'll probably want to get Swift Strike, which increases his speed and his damage by 100%. And because of that, I might even get Out of Blood, because if I'll be constantly using him, you know, whatever. And if that's the case, I may put 2 in this and 2 into this. Because let's see, my cooldown rate is 26 seconds. If this is by 3, putting 5 in there decreases it by 15, so that puts it down real fast. But I'm pretty sure kill skills will make it reduce faster. Whatever. But like I said, you can build your characters however you want, man. And I think that's part of the reason that I really enjoy this game. Now in Borderlands 2, okay, I have very overpowered characters, right? I have overpowered Zero, and he's not even max level, he's not even level 80. So in that game, I want to get up to OP 10, Okay, and I also want to make it to Mayhem 10 on max level in Borderlands 3 for my flak. But I also want to get my Mara up to, I think that's her name, Mara, the Siren. I want to get my Siren to max level as well. And so, because I want to also play Zane, and I need to play Moze, I feel like I need to catch up on Borderlands 3. Now, I really like all the Borderlands game, and I really want to also get into pre-sequel again, because I was getting into it for just a little while, and then I got super bored of it, because I just got cut into other things. But I'm eventually just going to cut out Grand Theft Auto out of my gaming list, because of games I play but keep it downloaded. And part of the reason is I have everything I want in the game. I'm not good at the game. I don't make a lot of money in the game, but you know, I don't make a lot of money. And you know, if I get a lot of money in the game, then good. But if I don't, I mean, I guess I lose. But oftentimes I spend my money not on things I need, because I don't really like grinding in the game. I really like just playing the game for fun, but the only way you have fun with new vehicles is by grinding, and the game kind of feels like work, and it's all because of the toxic community known as grinders. And a lot of people will get triggered when I say that. I don't mean that they're toxic players, but to be honest with you, man, and it's a whole discussion in itself, but if you really think turning the game into real work makes it any more fun, you're mistaken. It takes away the fun aspect if you make the entire game about doing something you really just don't want to do. But if you have fun doing it, then good on you. But the other thing I was going to mention was, you know, the tryhards are, you know, they call people tryhards whenever you see this thing pop up, this red marker pop up on your map, and you end up seeing that, hey, it says, you get a text message from somebody saying destroy this cargo. What are you gonna do naturally? You're gonna destroy their cargo, and then you get called a tryhard, and then they say they're gonna punish you, and they try to kill you relentlessly because you did what the game told you to do. It's not the tryhards, or now you have two different types of tryhards: the tryhards that I just described, and the tryhards that just like ruining the game for people by simply just destroying them and starting shit out of nowhere when it wasn't even needed. Now that's the toxic type of tryhard. Then you have the normal player, which ends up being labeled as a tryhard simply because he does what the game tells him to do. Then you get dumbasses like, you know, the professional that are like, you're a tryhard and I'm gonna punish you. And you know, and I'm done. I'm done hearing that. I'm done with them claiming victim status because, oh, they destroyed my cargo. If you want to make $1 million in GTA in 3 seconds, it's gonna cost you one thing, your life, because you're not gonna have one after this grinding method. Like it's so annoying, dude. And you know, the whole GTA community is toxic anyway, and all they want to do, Rockstar, is milk the shit out of the game. It was a successful game back in 2013, and online had a decent lifespan, but it's time to move on. That game is old. It came out in 2013. It's still being played constantly, and I'm not saying it should just die, but seriously, people need to move on to other games. And it's like, sometimes it's just that NBA 2K16, sometimes a racing game, and then Fortnite, and that's all they play. And it's just that formula where GTA is just one of those must-have games. And it's like, no. I kind of regret buying it now, because now I have invested my time into the game to the point where I have become a grinder, I've become a tryhard, I've become a griefer, I've played the game, I raced, I did death matches, okay, I did every little thing the game had to offer me, and I'm done, you know. I just don't want to play it unless my friends want to play it. But I want to be playing games like this, where this is a true escape. Sure, it's its own game, but I've been playing this since I was a kid, okay? And I think that because of that, because I've been playing this game as a kid, this game has always had a special place in my heart. And I think the reason why is because it was just so simple for my little mind to understand all the way back then in 2009 that I was able to fully grasp the concept of the game and understand it. Now, when I was a kid, I was no professional at the game. I never knew every little possible secret and detail and must-know things. I knew quite a bit about the game, and that was just about it. I knew a lot about the game. I knew what elemental stuff did, that sort of thing, the basics. And what's it called, man? I was gonna say something. I don't know, man. Borderlands will always be one of those games that I will always play. Now, next to BioShock, I like BioShock for its story. And I can replay BioShock all the time. Not really. I can only play BioShock when I feel like it, but to be honest, I really enjoy playing Borderlands because I can just play it constantly and typically never get bored. If I was only able to own 3 games, I would own, at least on the PS4, I'd own Borderlands 1, the Handsome Collection, which kind of cheats the system by including pre-sequel and 2, and then I'd own Borderlands 3. And I'd have a lot of fun playing those games. I kind of regret buying Modern Warfare now because like I said, I've invested a lot of time in it, along with GTA, and those are games I really just no longer have fun playing. I think as games start to progress and become slightly more advanced, like take for instance, whenever Warzone first came out, it was a blast. Now, it's sort of just become just a thing, in my opinion. You know, I'm waiting for them to include multiplayer for Modern Warfare 2, and that's it. I'm gonna be playing that, man. That's the only Call of Duty game I'll be playing, and you know, I'm playing Outlast, though I'm not streaming it, and I don't think I ever will, because fuck that game. I want to be able to play it multiple times to get kind of used to each scripted event and kind of get used to what I'm supposed to do. I'm pretty good at doing that because I can just persevere through the game. But man, dude, certain parts of that game can just be quite annoying. The part where you have Dr. Warnicki, that part's pretty fucking annoying. I'm not gonna spoil why it's annoying, but just it's annoying. Also, off note, you know, I just like Borderlands, man. If I really wanted to, I would download all the Borderlands game with all my saved progress and data onto one PlayStation 4 and order a pizza or two, right? The new Little Caesars cheese pizza that just came out, which I love, and I would just play this all the time because it's fun. The other thing that I really had fun with, actually, is Call of Duty Zombies. And guess what? As the games progress, it kind of gets boring. It takes away the juice that made the originals. And a lot of Zombies fans will probably hate me for saying that, but in my opinion, it's true. It may not be true to them because we're all different, but I really only liked Black Ops 1, sometimes Black Ops 2. I hated Origins, and I think a lot of people get freaked out when I say that, because I've had a lot of people that I've discussed, you know, what's it called, Call of Duty Black Ops with, and a lot of them just are surprised at the fact that I hate Origins. And I think the big reason I hate it is because it became more than what it should have been. And it started this new cycle, this new story, these new versions of the original characters. It became too much, man. They had some sort of alternative timeline I'm not about that. That's too complicated. Okay, I've watched Back to the Future. I understand how a time paradox works. Okay, I've watched a couple episodes of Rick and Morty. I kind of understand how fuck shit happens, but that is just too much. And I like the mystery of the originals. You don't know how perk machines are. You don't understand who is Samantha and why there's a mystery box that generates weapons. And the original is World at War, and you don't even get perks until the first DLC. I'm trying to remember the name of the pack, but you get Verrucht, and essentially that's the most important zombies map because it really changed the game forever. And the reason why it's the most important is because it includes perk machines, traps, it includes power, that sort of thing. And without that, you wouldn't have the basic formula of zombies. But I further digress, with why I hate Black Ops 3, and to some extent even Black Ops 2, because Black Ops 2 still kept what Black Ops 1 had, as far as, simplicity goes, but they had crafting, and, that feature was kind of cool at first, but then again we get the worst map, Transit, and you get some people that try to defend it, but I'm not really into the whole zombies thing anymore. I was when I was younger. It died a long time ago. I think with that said, a lot of talking, a lot of my opinions on Borderlands, and like I said, I watch YouTubers like Vinylic Puma because I just get entertained by Borderlands, the talk of Borderlands. I read the Borderlands wiki. Yodi Slayer is a good Borderlands YouTuber, though he is, rest in peace Yodi Slayer, but you get people like Killer 6, Morning After Kill, that's another guy I forgot to mention, he's pretty cool. Hater Hype, and there's someone else, I already mentioned Jolts. I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, Oh man. Alright guys, I think with that said, I think I'm going to end the episode. Oh, another thing, I really recommend watching a channel known as the Act Man. He's pretty cool. I really enjoy watching his content. He's against the politicizing of games, which is awesome, because I hate when people politicize games. Another thing, you know, he plays the old school Call of Duties. He likes Doom. He does lots of videos talking about such. You know, so I really recommend you watch that dude. Now, obviously I have a very small channel, so unfortunately not too many people will watch this, but anybody who sees this, please check out those channels, and that will be Yodi Slayer, Killer 6, Jolts, Hater Hype, Final Lake Puma, The Act Man, Morning After Kill, Handsome Jack Boy, and so forth. Those are really good YouTubers for Borderlands content. And of course, the Act Man is just a good overall around YouTuber. I don't think he does Borderlands videos. I've never seen any personally. And so, you know. But the fact is that, you know, regardless if he does or doesn't do Borderlands videos, the fact is he's really good and influential as far as video games go, because he talks a lot about how the build philosophies of games and stuff like that, and how games are designed and stuff like that. And he goes into far good detail describing about how, you know, just everything. You'd have to watch it if you're really into the old school games, or if you grew up in, like, you know, the earlier 2000s, where you're, you know, if you were a kid in the earlier 2000s and you've experienced, if you remember the old school Call of Duty commercials and you got the yearly Call of Duty games, then yeah. But anyway, like I said, I think that's enough. I think I'm going to go get some lunch and hurry up this DLC. I really plan on beating it today, and I believe I'm going to end up beating a lot of the side quests today, because as you can see, I'm trying to get my Mordecai to like level 45 basically, and then I'm going to try to go straight into Ultimate Vault Hunter, or whatever, playthrough 2. And when I go through playthrough 2, I complete all the side quests in Firestone. I complete the few side quests in a couple areas and stuff like that. But I'm gonna make a lot of progress with this character during playthrough 2, just through the campaign. Then I'll beat a couple DLCs, especially this DLC. I'll beat this on playthrough 2. And then roughly I'll be close to max level, if not max level, and if I'm not max level, I'll go through a couple DLCs. In particular, the Zombie Island and the Claptrap DLC. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.